Hello and welcome to Your Health Decoded. Today it's all about your midlife shift. Remember, I said shift, not crisis, not midlife crisis, midlife shift. For generations, menopause has been whispered about, often misunderstood or even ignored, especially in men. So, menopause in women we have spoken about or we've started to talk about, but in men we absolutely don't discuss it. And in men, symptoms are clearly misunderstood, rarely discussed. But today we're breaking that silence. So, both for men or women, whether it's hot flashes and hormonal changes, mood swings, or sleep issues, midlife marks a new chapter for all of us. So, join us today as we're going to bring together top doctors and practical advice to help you embrace these changes with confidence. It's time to start a new conversation, one that celebrates life's transitions. I'm Manika Raikwar and I have with me today Dr. Anuradha Kapoor. She's an obstetrician and a gynecologist at the Max Hospital, and Dr. Sushma Tomar, also an obstetrician and a gynecologist at the Fortis Hospital. Thank you both so much for joining us today. So the first thing that I really wanted to discuss and ask is, why is it such a taboo subject? Why is it that nobody talks about menopause, obviously in women, and in men, which is called andropause?
Yes, that's correct. So I think in our society, anything related to the female body, changes in the female have always been kind of under the carpet, under the cover, but which is changing now. Women are coming forward in terms of menopause and they're discussing it much more openly. Obviously, they also perceive it as something negative just now, lost the ability to have children, and maybe the looks are going down. So there has to be a lot of awareness, and we have to talk about that. As you correctly said, it's just a transition. Everybody through it. So it is not that somebody can avoid it. As hormones dip, you will these changes that you will have. Your periods will stop. Your ovaries will stop functioning, so you will not be able to conceive. You will have mood changes and irritability and hot flashes. You could be sitting in a meeting and you could suddenly have hot flashes and night sweats. Absolutely okay. You can just go out, wear garments when you're going for a meeting so that you don't feel embarrassed. Women should stop feeling embarrassed about such things.
So
It is
that's
a
about,
natural process.
right, absolutely. So that's about women. What about men, if I can sort of ask you that in men it is just absolutely not discussed?
Whether it's a male or female, still taboo is there, at least in the Indian society, because females, they are coming to gynecologists nowadays for the routine health checkup. So we used to give them a lot of advice them to what to do during the perimenopausal period and the menopausal period. So bit awareness is there from the health checkup from the gynecologist for the female. Still in the male, this topic is not discussed at all, because they are getting lot of same system symptoms, whether they are getting the depression, erectile dysfunction, decrease in their sexual desire, and same problem is with the male also. But still there is no separate department who can discuss about this. So they are very much depressed. For that reason also, whom to discuss, they are not telling these things in the family also, they are not telling these things to their family doctor also. So now we have to ask them to consult their counselors. They can counsel it, they can go to urologists, there also they can discuss. Or even if gynecologists, they are free to talk, at least male gynecologists, they can discuss, because this is not any disease, this is because of the decrease in the testosterone hormones. So like in the females, after ovaries are stop functioning, so they get the menopause. Same is for the male also, after coming down the testosterone hormones, they get the same symptoms. But because ladies, they are having lot of problem related to the uterus, so they come to the hospital, they discuss their family doctors. Nowadays they are bit aware because of the regular health checkup, they are coming for the sonography, and that time we used to counsel to all the ladies. But for the gents, this topic is still in the family also, and with their family doctor also, they don't want to discuss about this thing. So through media, through the newspaper, through health checkup, we have to discuss कि they can also have the same androgenic menopause, or they can have the andropause also, and we have to tell them that this is not any disease, and what lifestyle changes, what exercise, what diet they can have the better improvement in their life.
Right. Dr. Kapoor, another thing is that nowadays we see sort of like a very wide range of that menopause or andropause can start from anywhere between 45 and go up to like 55. There are women at 55 also who've not hit menopause. So can you talk to us a little about who will get affected when? Are there some signals or symptoms to look at?
Who will get affected? The symptoms that they have to look for, the symptoms are nearly like everybody will have. In women, it will be that it's a retrospective diagnosis that they've not had their periods for about 12 months. Then we say, so it's quite drastic. But in a man, it can be gradual, that they'll feel that their testosterone levels are going down, they'll have ability, mood changes, fatigue, and their libido, their sex drive will decrease, their performance can be affected, and obviously the muscle mass becomes less. So these are the symptoms. But also there'll be, besides that, it's a retrospective diagnosis, 12 months of absence of periods, along with if you do an FSH levels, you'll see that the FSH levels are above 30 if you do them 2 months apart. Plus, there are also mood changes and irritability and depression, and because the estrogen level is going down. And obviously, the skin will wrinkle, breasts will sag because the hormone levels are fluctuating and going down. And obviously, we have to look at certain things like they can be vaginal dryness. So sometimes patients come to us, they're having repeated UTIs. Once that is because there's a vaginal dryness. So every time if they have intercourse, the epithelium gets rubbed as a local estrogen cream. Sometimes you have to look out for osteoporosis because easy fractures. So we have every patient and we have to treat them according to the symptoms that they have.
But are there some men and women who are going to hit menopause earlier than others, or I mean, it's just luck and fate or whatever?
It's usually women who, I mean, if you see the family history, if your mother has had it around 45, you will also have it around 45. It's obviously late 40s and 50s. Like for Indian women, it's 41, then that age. But if your mother had it for some reason, you've had a surgery on the ovaries. Supposing you had repeated ovarian cystectomies, your ovarian reserve has gone down. So then obviously you're going to hit menopause earlier. So you have to go into the history of the patient that if she's had a surgery and had one ovary removed, then she can have menopause earlier because the hormones are less. See, according to the history of the patient.
Right. And is it the same for men? Anything between 45 to 55 or over that?
Correct. It is between 45 to 50. It's a gradual process done in a woman. Sometimes you say suddenly that they stop periods suddenly and then they have these symptoms, which is a nice way. In men, it's more gradual, but the age is nearly the same, 45. And obviously, they have the same symptoms that their bones are also going to get weak. They also have loss of muscle mass and they will have fatigue and mood changes and everything. So the symptoms are nearly, some of the symptoms are common, but they're nearly like that. Obviously, if they've also had some surgery on the test, some radiation for some cancer or some surgery on the testes, then they will also have menopause earlier because they're going to lose their estrogen earlier.
Right. Dr. Tomar, if I can ask you, it's, hot flashes, irritability, lack of sleep, etc., something that one hears of quite commonly in whether it's menopause or andropause. But recently there's been a lot of research done and people are talking about heart problems or, palpitations that suddenly, or breathlessness. So if you would like to tell our viewers that what are some other symptoms to look out for, that not to get scared, that it's part of this transition that you're going through and what to do about it?
Well, when they are entering in the menopause, that we call before menopause like Dr. Kapoor rightly said, 12 months when there is no period. So all these symptoms perimenopausally start a year or two before. So they start getting the irregular period, early period, late period. So this is the warning sign that they are entering in the nearby in few month or year they will enter in the menopause. Now menopause, after stopping this estrogen hormone, it affect from head to toe. Like they get the all the irritability, depression. They feel neglected in the family. Ki now I am not needed in the family. So from psychological point of view, they start getting all these symptoms. Now, other are the vasomotor symptom like hot flush, palpitation. This is because of the hot vasomotor symptoms they get. And now, slowly, the cardiac diseases and stress is also increasing in the menopause. So, whether it's a psychological symptoms, whether it's a vasomotor symptoms, whether it's a dryness in the vagina or urinary symptoms, we have already concluded that. So, from head to toe, this is affecting our body fully. So we have to take care according to their symptoms, whether if they are having the psychologically some depression, then we have to do counseling, and sometimes we need to supplement with the nutritional diet supplement. So when we are talking about the symptoms from head to toe, we have to ask the symptoms and we have to treat them accordingly, because there is not a single line of treatment for everyone. So what symptom they are suffering, and we have to treat accordingly, and we have to give the counseling for the lifestyle changes, for the diet, exercise, what diet we have to take, more of vitamins, more of calcium products. So they should not go for the osteoporosis and all that. We have not to take much of fatty things if we are expecting they are obese, because obesity is also common during this menopause. So we have to take all the care for every head to toe in these patients.
Right. So, in all of this, is there any worrying symptom? Is there anything that if it happens to a man or a woman going through this midlife shift, that they should be worried about, that they immediately should go to their doctor and say, you know, this is what is happening to me, and that is something that needs immediate attention?
Yeah, definitely. The point is ki suppose they are getting all the psychological symptoms like depression and all that. Sometimes few patients, they are so much in depression. One of my doctor friends, she said in the menopause, now I'm feeling just to kill my husband. So much of the irritability, depression they are feeling, they feel so neglected. So we have to do the counseling and tell them why they are getting these symptoms, and accordingly we have to start whether nutrition, diet, yoga, exercise, and sometimes the hormonal therapy is needed for them. Suppose they are feeling the more of palpitation, high blood pressure, because this menopause is related with the hormonal changes, so they are having the diabetes, thyroid, and hypertension along with the menopause. Then definitely we have to take care for the cardiac diseases also, because cardiac diseases are also common in the female menopause. If they are having history of osteoporosis like joint pain, weakness, then we have to do the BMD test and find out how much calcium is there, and we have to guide first to have the more of calcium product, do exercise, so, and have the sunlight exposure, vitamin D3. So these things will take care for not to have the fracture, because fractures are very common in the menopausal ladies, because they have the osteoporosis, and because of the osteoporosis they get more chances of fracture. If they are having more of urinary symptoms, like Dr. Kapoor said, they are going to many times for the urination, having the burning, dryness in the vagina, then we have to give the local estrogen creams for 3 to 6 months. So we have to bother for them, because they are having very much symptoms related to cardiovascular or the vasomotor or the urogenital. So everything according to symptom we have to bother, and we have to take care for them. We cannot leave it like this, it's a normal for the menopausal ladies.
Right. And I mean, I know you said it very seriously, but ladies, if you want to kill your husband, go speak to your doctor.
Yeah, one of my doctor friend, doctor, she was doctor.
It could be a midlife shift. It could be something, related to your menopause. So don't go ahead. Don't kill your husbands. Go talk to your doctor.
They feel too much of irritation and depression in this time.
Exactly.
So we have to take it very seriously. We cannot bypass this thing.
Absolutely. Dr. Kapoor, I wanted to ask you, somehow, of course, it's part of life. It is, that our bodies are going through this transition. It's not something, but somehow men, of course, just don't talk about it, but women, they tend to become sort of, it becomes like a joke in the family, right? It's like when a woman is going through her periods, it's like she's always going through her periods, or if she's going through her menopause, she's always going through her menopause. what would you want to say to families where, women, and now women are working till much later? Earlier, by 45, 50, they were having children were getting married because they were marrying earlier, having kids earlier. But now women are also sort of working till much later, till their 60s, 70s. So what would you like to say to families, in terms of just supporting people who are going through this midlife shift?
Yeah, very good point you made. So I think they have to be very supportive, and they have to be very empathetic. It's not a disease, and every woman will go through it. And you have to, if you have a mild anxiety, depression, sometimes if you talk to your family members, we talk to your husband, and give that tender, loving care, that itself is enough. Obviously, if it's a severe, the other doctor was saying that she's so aggressive and she wants to kill her husband. She has those thoughts. Then she has to see a psychiatrist, and we have to have behavioral therapies. But a lot can if we have a supportive family and a supportive husband who understand a supportive work culture. Even if they're supposing the woman suddenly hot and sweaty, so nobody should make fun of her, because something which is going to happen to their sisters and their mothers, family members also. So men have to be. That's why whenever I take a lecture on menopause, in Brits, I always tell them, please include the men now, because they have to understand that they have to be supportive, and it's not something that they can smile about. It is going to happen to their family members also. And a lot of tender, loving care and support. Besides, obviously, tell them to do their lifestyle changes, and we tell them to take calcium, and some so bad that it's affecting her daily life. So then we have to give them HRT. The FDA says that you should give it for short bursts and the minimum amount. So, but a supportive family can do a lot, and a culture. Both the things are needed, because, as you said, women are working just now for a longer period of time.
Right. I actually wanted to ask both of you this. You referred to HRT, and it's become quite. It's come under a lot of controversy recently. Some women who've tried it swear by it. Doctors do recommend it, but there are also studies that sort of say that it could be carcinogenic. So speak to our viewers about this hormone therapy. Is it safe? Is it unsafe? How should one go about it?
Hormone replacement therapy we keep as a last resort. If all the counseling, all the diet, exercise, everything, and the nutrition supplement is not going to work out, and if it is really needed, because hormone therapy is having both pros and cons. It Because of the hormones, she feels better, but if we are giving in the bit higher dose, because we have to give in very low dose all the estrogen and progesterone. If uterus is there, then we have to supplement with the progesterone also. But if it is the last thing, we have to give. We are having many other nutritional molecule also, or the molecule which is working as a estrogen therapy. So it's always better to try for that, because definitely you said rightly, because if we are giving for the long term, we have to be careful for the breast cancer and the cardiovascular diseases. So HRT is having their own benefit also and side effect also. So if it is really needed, then we have to give in very low dose, but we have to keep in observation. This we have to counsel to patient. We will try everything best, but if it is like for the vaginal and urinary symptoms, we have the local estrogen gel are there, so we can treat with the vaginal estrogen gel also. So oral hormonal therapy we keep preserved for if it is really needed, but we have to counsel them what can be the pros and cons.
Right. Dr. Kapoor, you were talking about some study.
Yes, I was saying the WHI study scared everybody, because it showed a lot of increased cancers. But then there were a lot of research on that, and it was discovered that it was a skewed study. So it wasn't a very well randomized control trial where you had controls, and the patients are well balanced and matched. So then later on, they realized that there is a slightly increased risk in breast cancer, but it's not as much as WHI study says. So now the FDA has come that, first of all, try to manage, like the other doctor said, Dr. Thomas said, that you try to manage with style changes, meditation, and some cognitive behavioral. But then sometimes it affects your lifestyle so much, you're not able to go to work. Then, and if it affects your daily activity, then you have to give HRT. So it's very clear cut. says that you should give it for a short, as low dose as possible, and for as short a time as possible. So you give it for 3 to 4 months, and then you that it's improving or not required, then you taper it off. And supposing she just has genital urinary symptoms, you can do a local estrogen therapy. So we have to, that's why I said, individualize the treatment for every patient, seeing and assessing what level of severity, and then we give the HRT if needed. But patients should be aware. WHI study was very skewed, so you don't have to be so scared. And see, we are going to do a mammography and a pap smear and ultrasound and screen with all your blood tests and lipid profile and see that you're not at very high risk. You're not somebody who has family history of breast cancers. I mean, your sister, mother has this very strong family history, then we would withhold it. But otherwise, there are definite indications, and then we will give it. So you have to sit with your doctor. The doctor has to screen you, and only then do we start HRT.
Right. So we've spoken a lot about women and what they go through and the treatments for them and what can be done. What about men? They have similar symptoms. You said they also go in. So, but is there any prescribed or route or regimen for men of treatment?
So, like female men also, we first used to do the counseling, diet, exercise, and then sometime, very rarely, we have to supplement the medicine. Otherwise, with the diet, exercise, they are quite okay. But because they are also running short of testosterone hormones, so if it is needed, but I have seen very rare gents, they come to female gynecologist and say their own problems. In fact, more than this andropause, the infertility male, they come and say their own problem, but the andropause gents, hardly they are coming to gynecologist and asking for these problems.
That's true.
Still, they are having some ego.
Dr. Kapoor, you were saying something.
No, yeah, just to add to Dr. Tomar's thing, that similarly, calcium, counseling, all that is done. And in case very severe the symptoms, then obviously the urologist starts steroid therapy also, like we start them on HR. So that is there always, but then obviously it has to be discussed because it can also have maybe side effects. It can increase some cancers. So it has to be discussed. But they don't come to us. The urologist. They go to the they go to the urologist.
Right. So another thing I wanted to say, as people now are working longer, they are sort of more concerned with the way they look. There is sort of, a lot of this Botox, fillers, skincare, all of that is happening. There's also sort of slightly healthier way of life. People are eating more healthy. I mean, at least some are. They are fitter. How does this then come into this whole midlife shift? Does it help? Does it delay menopause?
No, so the menopause will at the time it's supposed to come. But if you have a healthy lifestyle, healthy diet, if you don't smoke, and if you decrease your levels, and you meditate and you deal with it, decrease your stress levels basically, and your skin and your looks and your confidence is going to be there, and you will look good. I think for every woman, she has to understand that every woman is beautiful. You need to have a good confidence level, and you have to know that it's not only your looks. Obviously, you are going to get your wrinkles and your breasts will sag and your hair will become white. All these things will happen. You can deal with some of them. You can dye your hair, you can do some fillers and things like that. But basically, if your personality is good, you are going to look beautiful. This is what they have to understand, and they have to understand this is not a disease. This is not, they don't have to feel guilty about it. It is something which is going to come. So I think that is more important than doing all the Botox and fillers and dyeing your hair. But if you are very confident and you've done a lot in life, you've helped others and you've achieved what you wanted to do and your children are doing well, I think that gives you a lot of beauty and glow on your face. That is my viewpoint.
That's a lovely viewpoint.
From my side.
Yeah, please go ahead.
From my side, we should enjoy this part of life as a new life. After our children have settled down and our period has gone, so we have to enjoy the menopause like a new life. We should not think now our wrinkles will come and our hair will become thin and I will become obese and I will become a shaggy breast. So with the age, we have to grow gracefully. We have to not to compare with the youngster, depending on your profession also, like who are working lady, they take much more care. So now in the cosmopolitan city, we can have more of botox and fillers and all. My daughter is plastic surgeon, so she is doing all these things. But my point is that with the age, everything should look good, whether it's a gray hair, whether it's a your specs. I don't want to do all these things, because you should look senior also at any moment of time, so you look much more graceful. So beauty is with your age, rightly said by the Dr. Kapoor, ki at home, once children are born, you are menopause, so you have to have the new lifestyle after this, instead of trying to be look much more younger than that.
Right, thank you so much. That's a lovely bit to end on. I think guilt is part of not just Indian women, but women all over the world, and they feel guilty about everything. But that's a topic for another day. But thank you so much, both of you, Dr. Kapoor, Dr. Tomar, for joining us today. I hope the conversation we had helps men and women who are going through this midlife shift. And I hope we've been able to tell them that this is just another way of life. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing to worry about. Go to your doctor, have a clear conversation, and move forward. Thank you so much. That's all we have on Your Health Decoded. See you next week.